The other question becomes if Cam Ward is gone at 2, do the Browns take Shedeur Sanders? So Todd McShay, he's now the draft analyst for the Ringer. Here's the talk that the Browns like what they've seen and heard from Shedeur Sanders, and McShay admits he's connecting the dots here. Shedeur's skill set strikingly similar to a handful of quarterbacks that Kevin Stefanski has won a lot of games with in the past. Case Keenum won 11 games for the Vikings when Stefanski was the QB coach in 2017. Kirk Cousins, whose Vikings team won 10 games under Stefanski as the offensive coordinator in 2019. Most recently, Joe Flacco went 4-1 with the Browns starter as the Browns starter in 2023. So, again, you're hearing a lot that Shedeur Sanders is fading down. There is. I get where McShay is going with the skill set that Stefanski has worked with before relative to Sanders.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it is, I think, easy to connect those dots. I've been hearing it for a long time that just from a style standpoint, that Sanders fits what Stefanski has always done best. But I think you can make the same argument for Brian Callahan in the Titans, that he probably fits what they do best as well. What's a little concerning though, and I like Shedeur Sanders. We've talked about it. I think he's worth taking at number 2. But when you look at those guys, Case Keenum, he might have been undrafted. Right? Kirk Cousins is a 4th rounder. Joe Flacco's a 1st rounder, but I'm not sure he fits with those 2 other guys. Joe Flacco's a big, tall, stand in the pocket, and throw the ball all over the place, right? So those 2 guys, kind of self-made quarterbacks, and that's not the kind of guy you're looking at for number 2. So I think the ceiling better be higher for Shedeur, but if it's just about a style standpoint, then yes, I certainly see how that makes sense.
Yeah, and we had heard earlier in the show, there's some talk that physical skill attributes, a lot of people have a 2nd-round grade on Shedeur Sanders, but it isn't as simple as stamp it. You got to find the right fit.
Yeah, and that's not the only thing that matters. And I get it. I'm a huge big arm guy, and I love to watch it. And you think about all the possibilities, but that isn't all there is, right? If it was, then Jamarcus Russell would be a Hall of Famer. It's about accuracy in decision making and playing in the clutch, and those are the areas where Shedeur Sanders has been at his best. So I think there's some intangibleness to that, and that's hard when you're just basing it on film, right? And man, what are the RPMs and how quick does he move and those kinds of things? And those things matter. They really do. But I feel like he has enough. He has enough arm. He has enough athleticism that it allows the rest of his skill set, the best parts of his skill set, to come through.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key. That's Andrew Berry has to identify that. If that's the case, man, you go get him, because those are some things that do translate in the NFL as well. Those are all the things you can't watch film that you have to get a feel for.